World War II fans are often fascinated by the Tiger tank, the Panther tank, and the Mouse. But the most reliable main battle tank of the German army was the Panzer IV. On the 26th of May 1941, a few weeks before Operation Barbarossa, it was decided to improve the Panzer IV's main armament in the future. But within months, the shock of encountering the Soviet T-34 medium and KV-1 heavy tank necessitated a new, much more powerful tank gun. In November of 1941, Krupp was contracted in a joint development to modify Rheinmetall's 75mm anti-tank gun design, later known as the 7.5cm PAK-40. Because the recoil length was too great for the tank's turret, the recoil mechanism and chamber was shortened. This resulted in the 75mm KWK-40 L/43. In April 1943, the L/43 was replaced by the longer 75mm KWK-40 L/48 gun with a redesigned multi-baffle muzzle brake with improved recoil efficiency. Along with the PAK-40, it was the most numerous anti-tank gun of the German army and remained an effective weapon until the war's end. Firing the Panzergranate 39 armor-piercing shell, the new gun could penetrate 77mm of steel armor at a range of 1,800 meters. The Ausführung F, so F version tanks that received the new and longer gun were temporarily named Ausführung F2, so F2 version. But 3 months after beginning production, the Ausführung F2 was renamed Ausführung G or G version. The armor of the Panzer IV Ausführung F2 was virtually identical to that of the F1, with a maximum thickness of only 50 millimeters. It was quite thin compared to that of its arch rivals, the T-34 and M4 medium tanks, and could be easily penetrated by most medium caliber guns, and was also mostly unangled. The side and rear armor was even thinner and was highly vulnerable at medium and close ranges. During its production run from March of 1942 to June of 1943, the Panzer IV Ausführung G went through further modifications, including several armor upgrades. With the slow introduction of the newer Panzer IV, the German army did not operate any significant changes to their Panzer division organization. The new Panzer IV tanks were attached to the already existing medium tank companies of the Panzer battalions. These were the 4th or sometimes the 3rd companies of the battalion. They consisted of a staff with 2 command tanks equipped with stronger, long-range radio sets, and 3 platoons, each equipped with 4 tanks, and a supporting light tank platoon equipped with the weaker Panzer II tank. However, in reality, between 1940 and 1942, medium tank companies were not allowed to create a 3rd platoon. For this reason, most divisions would have 2 command tanks and 2 platoons, so altogether 10 Panzer Force in their medium tank companies. At the start of 1942, the units on the Eastern Front saw the reorganization of the Panzer divisions and motorized infantry divisions. The best Panzer divisions changed to 3 tank battalions, each consisting 1 medium tank company, while some motorized infantry divisions were reinforced with 1 tank battalion, also with 1 medium tank company. In 1941, an average of 39 Panzer IV tanks per month were built. This number rose to 83 in 1942, 252 in 1943, and finally 300 in 1944. However, in December of 1943, Krupp's factory was diverted to manufacture the Sturmgeschütz 4 assault gun, leaving the Nibelungenwerke plant in Austria the only factory still assembling the Panzer IV. Shipments of the first Ausführung F2 began in the spring of 1942, and by the summer offensive there were around 134 Panzer IVs with the new gun available. At the time, these were the only German tanks that could defeat the T-34 and the KV-1 with sheer firepower. An after-action report submitted by the workshop company of a panzer regiment highlights the immense difficulties on the Russian front. In contrast to deployment in the West, the large amount of dust generated in Russia caused much more engine damage. Almost all engine wear can be attributed to dust accumulation. This could have been reduced by carefully cleaning the air filters and changing the engine oil frequently. The regiment has been in uninterrupted combat for 4 weeks, so that too little time could be made available for this maintenance work. The mileage of the engines could have been increased by about 300 kilometers to 500 kilometers with appropriate care. The Panzer IV tanks played a crucial role in the events that unfolded between June 1942 and March 1943, and these tanks became the mainstay of the German panzer divisions. Although in service by late September of 1942, the Tiger I heavy tank was not yet numerous enough to make an impact and suffered from serious problems, while the Panther medium tank was not delivered to the German units in the Soviet Union until the middle of 1943. The extent of German reliance on the Panzer IV tanks during this period is reflected by their losses. 502 were destroyed on the Eastern Front only in 1942. The Panzer IV tanks continued to play an important role during operations in 1943, including at the Battle of Kursk. Newer types, such as the Panther, were still experiencing crippling reliability problems that restricted their combat efficiency. So much of the effort fell to the 441 Panzer Force that took part in that gigantic tank battle. Throughout 1943, the German army lost 2,352 Panzer Force on the Eastern Front. Some divisions were reduced to 12 tanks by the end of the year. In 1944, a further 2,643 Panzer IV tanks were destroyed, and such losses were becoming increasingly difficult to replace. Nevertheless, Panzer IV tanks continued to form the core of Germany's armored division, including elite units such as the 2nd SS Panzer Corps through 1944. In January of 1945, 287 Panzer IV tanks were lost. It is estimated that combat against the Soviet forces accounted for 6,153 Panzer IV tanks, or about 75% of all Panzer IV losses during the war. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you, and see you in the next video.